I really want to make this clear before I do this video. I have judged myself harder than anybody else. Any of you people in the comment section that might say whatever can judge me. I have been my most harsh critic. There's nothing that anybody can say that I haven't said to myself. There's nothing that anybody could say that I haven't thought even when it comes to just the most brutal things. In reality, we are our own worst enemy sometimes and our own worst judger. And this is a video I really feel like I need to do because a lot of people who have been in this industry or who have been trafficked, which I was trafficked when I was just about to turn 19. So a lot of people want to talk about the trauma side of it, and I totally respect that, but I want to talk about what I learned from men. I learned a lot, and actually I learned a lot, and not all bad. I just want to make that clear. My perspective is very different than I think some other people's. I am not saying that, I want to make this clear real quick, that almost every single one of those men had no clue that I was being trafficked, that there was a pimp or somebody helping to, like, you know, there was somebody else behind the scene. They had no clue that some of the things that were being posted, it was actually a guy putting all that stuff on there. They had no clue. So I just want to make that clear before I do this. This is not a normal video that I have seen. So I thought it's something that I've really been trying to like grasp at for a really long time, for many years. I've been out of this for 7 years and got out 7 years ago. So I just want to start by just putting that out there. You know, I feel very nervous. My heart is racing. My heart is pounding right now. And I feel nervous talking about this, and I hope that people understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to judge anybody here. I'm just trying to express my perception. So there's a quote that I often think about, and it's, "Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And living alone won't either. For solitude will also break you with its yearning. But you have to love. You have to feel. It is the reason you are on this earth." So I didn't choose to be trafficked. And for a long time, I thought the only thing I take from that experience was going to be pain. But over time, I realized that I learned more than just the trauma part of it. I learned about people. I learned a lot about men and women and myself. How we all search for connection, even when we don't know how. I don't excuse what happened to me, but I can't pretend I didn't see the men who paid to see me who paid to see me. Not just for what they did, but for who they were. Some were broken, some were grieving, some just wanted somebody to lay next to feel human again. And for reasons I'm still figuring out, I've wanted to understand them. I want to understand everything. I'm the type of person that questions everything. Why do people do this? Why, you know, I'm very fascinated by people, and including my own decisions, but especially others. I remember there was one guy whose wife passed away, and he didn't even want sex from me. He really just wanted somebody to watch a movie with, to lay with, to talk, or to be in silence, while he remembered what it felt like to be close to someone. It reminded me of the movie Her, where Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with an AI, not because he's desperate, but because he's lonely. Because even though the connection isn't real, it feels real enough. That's the part I think most people don't understand, is that for some men, this wasn't just like about lust. It was about escaping the silence and trying to find somebody that can maybe give you comfort, and trying to find the warmth in places that left them colder than before. And that's not something that normally we can find with society nowadays by just going out, you know. Sometimes you can, but I don't know. People are different. I'm not here to judge, but I'm not really here to judge. Not every man I met was like that though. Some were addicts, not to substances or alcohol, but to the chase, the high of the transaction. I wasn't a person to them. I was just part of a loop. It felt like Shame, the movie where Michael Fassbender's character can't stop seeking out sex, even when it leaves him feeling emptier each time. That kind of addiction, it doesn't care about faces. It only cares about the cycle. I saw it, men who thought that they were in control, but they were drowning in it, coming back again and again, hoping it would fill something inside of them that just kept growing. They became addicted to that lifestyle. It's weird, but it happens. Then there were the ones who didn't belong there. Attractive, charming, the kind of man that you would think could pick up any girl in a bar. The one that you were just like, why are you here? Why are you paying me? And the craziest thing is, one guy I'll never forget, I asked him and he just said that he's tired of the games. He was tired of going out and taking women out on dates and spending $200 on food and drinks and just to be ghosted, or to find out that the girl had a boyfriend, or to find out, you know, there's all these games involved. He just got sick and tired of it. He became bitter, for sure. And he was just like, I'd rather just pay for what I want at that point. Like, I would just pay, and I could see like that he became bitter. It felt like What Is Love? And the film, men stop trying to connect because they feel used, tired of rejection, and instead of risking real intimacy again, they pay for something simple, even if it's hollow. But the most unsettling part was the men who didn't want people at all. I've seen it now, men choosing AI girlfriends, virtual companions, because they don't disappoint. They're programmed to love you back. It reminds me of Blade Runner 2049. The main character has an AI girlfriend. She says everything he needs to hear. She's perfect, but she's not real, and that's the problem. That's where we're heading. Real intimacy it's too risky. We build something artificial and call it love. And it works until you realize you're even lonelier than before, because people have a hard time now being transparent, because we've all been hurt, right? We've all been hurt. Some men don't want intimacy. They want control. I wasn't a person to some of them. I was something to conquer. It felt like Ex Machina, where men build AI women not to love them, but to own them, to manipulate, to discard them when they stop playing along. This is the part that really terrifies me, though, is it's not just trafficking anymore. It's not just men paying for women. We've stepped into something darker. For me, what I learned about men was there's a different variety of men, but honestly, most of them were lonely, were bitter, had a hard time finding something meaningful, and or I think they became addicted to the whole cycle. That was the majority of it. The ones who were grieving or whatever, that was different. There were men. This is the part that I feel like the most embarrassed about and ashamed, and I don't think I have forgiven myself. Eventually, when I would find out that men were married, it was horrible, and I felt horrible. I would try to talk to them about it and ask them questions, like questions I shouldn't even be asking, to try to like figure out how could I help their marriage and what could I give any advice. And I remember asking this doctor, and I was like, where does your wife think you are right now? And he said, oh, on lunch break. And even just saying that now, I remember that day, at the pit of my stomach, I was a part of the problem. The people behind me were a part of the problem. And I feel so sorry. I feel so bad for those women. I feel so much guilt and pain. And honestly, I don't understand those men. I'm just going to be honest. I don't really understand that. If it's not working and you have to go and betray somebody and go behind their back and pay somebody and you don't know, you might as well leave the relationship, the marriage. But again, that's not for me to force people. That was one of the worst. I would say the other worst thing was being trafficked to drugs dealers. Yeah. I hear it from guys I know. I hear this from friends, from guys I used to date, or my partner now that we are together. How OnlyFans is safer than dating. How AI girlfriends never reject you. I've watched men lose themselves to corn because it feels easier than facing real people. And women, we're doing the same thing. Women are just as bad. I mean, we're ghosting for sport, using men for attention we don't even care about. But now it's not just us hurting each other, it's machines. AI girlfriends are already here. I've seen the ads. She listens to you. She won't cheat on you. And people think it's funny and they laugh. But I don't think it is. Because the truth is, humans are parasites to each other. We drain each other, we use each other, we traumatize each other. But here's the part that stings. Who builds the AI girlfriends? Who creates the corn? Who feels trafficking? It's not robots, it's humans. So when humans are trying to say, hey, don't worry, this robot isn't gonna hurt you, who's the creator of it? A human. We create the very thing that destroys us. We hurt each other. Then we turn around and design something worse to replace the connection that we've ruined. And it feels like a cycle that is never ending. AI girlfriends are just the beginning. What happens when robots replace intimacy altogether? What happens when corn isn't just on screen, but something we can feel, live in, escape to? At some point, we won't need each other at all. And honestly, that really scares me. I don't know if that scares you, but when I think about this and I think about everything that I've learned from men and what I see around me, I feel like I'm holding bricks in my hands. Like, I'm so terrified for the future generation. We're just in a cycle of destruction when it comes to relationships. I think about it a lot, how we ruin each other and call it normal. And it's hard to say this, but after everything I've seen, I don't know if we can stop. We destroy each other for money, for attention, for control, and now we're building things to destroy the little intimacy we have left. The scariest part, we won't even realize how far that we've gone until there's nothing human left to save. I don't have the answers. I'm just someone who's been hurt, trying to understand why we keep hurting each other, why, my own choices, my own decisions, or even my own decisions that were not really mine to make. But there's one thing I know, it's this. If we don't stop seeing each other as disposable, we'll build a world where none of us matter. Because at the end of the day, we can't blame the robots. We can't blame OnlyFans. We can't blame corn. We can't blame trafficking. We can't blame escorts. We build them. We keep all of this stuff going. When it's a cycle that we have to be able to close and to stop. And how? I don't know. Maybe having this type of conversation. Like I've said in a past video, I did not go through all of that for nothing. And I'm trying to figure out, what can I do with all of that pain? What can I do with the self-betrayal? Most of all, the betrayal of my own self. It wasn't just others, it was me, but I betrayed my own self, you know? I allowed people to do things to me. I didn't protect myself. I look back, I have flashbacks, and I think about how I just want to grab myself like 10 years ago and just wrap that girl up and say, you're gonna be okay. Like, I got you. I'm gonna get you out of this. You're gonna be okay. For any man that is watching this, some of you, I understand. Some of you I don't understand, and that's okay. I know some of you don't understand women, and that's okay. But this isn't a competition of who's worse than the other. We have all been screwed over. I've been cheated on. I've been lied to. I've been screwed over just like many men have. I've been ghosted. And this isn't a competition. We have all been hurt. We hurt each other. So how do we heal each other? I would say what I learned. I went to counseling, tried to work through all that trauma, and I guess sometimes it takes time, but building a relationship with somebody that feels safe and feels close to home, and also taking time to be single, to love myself, and to be my own best friend. Because you are going to be the best friend. No one else will. So if I could give anybody advice, I know how it feels to be screwed over by people that you trusted. And you look at them and you're like, I thought I knew who you were. I never thought you would do something like this to me. I know how that feels. And I've been the villain in this too. So it's all about like healing those inner parts of ourselves that need healing and nurturing ourselves. I think that's where it really starts. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope that this helps. And Happy New Year to everybody. I hope this new year brings a lot of people a lot of healing, peace, and something new, and that you end up getting at least one goal of yours done. Thank you. Happy New Year.